Before I start with this video, I will say this. This video is probably not going to be very realistic, but I will try my best. As some people may know, two people saved the Cold War from turning hot. But what if this didn't happen? What if the Cold War turned hot? Now before we really get into the meat of this, I'd like to say that this is not going to be all in one part. As if you read the title, this is just part 1. I may have 3 or 4 parts to this, so stay tuned. Anyways, the story starts in 1983, when the Soviets sent out some submarines with missiles to look after the Americans. The man in the story is Stanislav Petrov. He was sent a false report that the Americans have sent missiles to the Soviets and was told to launch the nukes, but he didn't, as he knew it was a false report. We really should give this man some more credit for saving the world, but in this timeline, he wouldn't save the world, and the missiles would be launched. Now, nukes, for this scenario's sake of not ending in 5 seconds, they will be used more carefully and for strategic purposes. 50 nukes would be sent flying, hitting these places. The world is now crumbling, and an all-out war has happened. We have 2 sides, the Western Allies and the Soviet Axis. Of course, some countries will stay neutral, like Switzerland, Ireland, and Sweden, but most countries would join this war. Now the Cold War has ended. It is now World War III, which starts in 1984. We have 2 battle plans ready. Let's start with the American one. The American plan is to get Cuba, make the other countries in South America get rid of, and then the African holdings will take the Soviet African holdings. Simple as that. Then they will try to push into the Asian and European theaters, which may go decent, but since the Soviets have a large presence there as well, it will be very hard to push through. But the Soviet one goes like this. They want to get Greece and Turkey, while trying to get Austria and West Germany. Get Afghanistan and try to push out further. Both plans have some holes, but let's see how this plays out. The Americans act first, doing the invasion of Cuba. Even with the Cubans fighting with all they got, the Americans would win. Unlike the Bay of Pigs invasion, they put enough troops in, and they trained the troops well. The next to fall is Nicaragua, as the Central American countries would push through and take it all. But over with the Soviets, they're pushing into Afghanistan and trying to push into Greece and Turkey. But they lose in Africa, as the other African countries push the Soviet Axis out. But now, we're gonna go to an extreme now. We have the first nukes actually used in combat since World War II. Excluding the 50 nukes that were used to initiate World War III, these are the first nukes actually used in battle. And would you guess it? It's North Korea who's sending them. North Korea throws nukes into South Korea and then tries to storm in, almost wiping them out in a week or 2. Which I gotta say, nice, you finally did something. The Americans are now trying to plan to bomb Soviet Indochina. India pushes into East Pakistan and slightly into West Pakistan. Now note that Bangladesh was mostly known as East Pakistan in this time period, I believe. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. So then, in the next part, I will call it by Bangladesh if I'm wrong. Or if I'm right, I will keep calling it East Pakistan to be more historically accurate. But now the year is 1986, and the public is tired of war. So now 4 civil wars, which is very ironic considering that the public is tired of wars, will now break out. 2 in America and Canada, and 2 in the Soviet Union and China. This is the end of part 1. I know it is a bit short, but I will release more parts in the future. You can recommend your alt history ideas in the comments. But wait, I still have a little announcement to make. I'm working on my first actual history video that is not alt history. It's going to be about World War I, and I will try to make it around like 10 to 12 minutes. But for now, peace.